This is a video about finance, so a lot of you guys who regularly watch probably won't be interested in this. It's response to the Modern Mystic. Nick, hi, how you doing? We're talking about MMT, modern money theory. So what they're saying is the government creates money, it spends the money into the economy, and it removes the money later through taxation. That's their descriptive model of what's going on. What they're describing is a different money supply to the one that generates most of the money in circulation. There's nothing factually wrong, I guess, but it's not the complete picture. It's not even half the picture. That's not how the bulk of the money supply is created, and it's not how the government regulates it. For sure, governments do spend directly into economies, but that's a small component of the total money supply. The vast majority, something like 95% of money, is created through lending. Every time you take a loan out with a bank, the money supply gets bigger. Not if you loan £5 to your brother or something like that. That doesn't change the money supply. But when banks lend, the money supply increases. Now, banks lend against assets of some kind. Your mortgage is secured against your house. Business loans are secured against the business's cash flows, etc. We have a fiat money system, but more than that, it's a debt fiat system. All the money out there, well, 95% of it is created against assets, and I'll come back to why that's important. How does the government regulate all this? It controls the cost of money through interest rates, not taxation. Taxation has nothing to do with this at all. The banks get their money from the central bank. If the central bank feels that the economy is overheating, in other words, there's too much money, they restrict this money creation process by banging up interest rates. Okay, so what are the MMT guys talking about? They're talking about something completely different. They're talking about the other way of creating money. That is, the government spends directly into the economy. This does happen, the bailout for example. They're saying the government should increase the use of this route. At the moment they can't because we make them balance their books. From what I've read so far, what they're advocating really is a pure fiat system instead of a debt fiat system that we have at the moment. Let's think about the difference. So today money is allocated through lending by private institutions. They assess the risks, and based on that risk they decide how much, at what interest rate, and against which assets they will lend. That provides some form of checks and balances. If the bank miscalculates risk and therefore allocates money poorly, they'll make a loss. So they should, current financial disaster notwithstanding, they should be careful and diligent in their allocation of money. And the money needs to be paid back. So the person or business taking the loan will think long and hard over whether to take the loan. There's a break, a built-in check, if you like. Now look at how their model works. The government can't go broke. Why not create the money and spend it as they decide, as the money's needed? The way it works at the moment is the government is held to account. They have to balance their budget in a similar way to a business. But these MMT guys are saying, why? A government can't go insolvent. Affordability can never be a problem when it comes to government, because government can always create more money. So they say, why are we treating a government like a business when it's fundamentally different? This is true. But going down this route, you have money creation with no market checks and balances. No assets are required. Money is created as government sees the need, as it sees fit. Look, there's no such thing as a free lunch, and that's why you're getting that bad feeling. You know this. This just sounds unsafe. I don't trust governments to regulate the money supply. I don't trust governments to know best where to allocate capital. I would expect inflation, which is a tax, it's a transfer of wealth. And also, this looks a bit to me like a theory for why the West can renege on its debts. Taxpayers have spent a lot of money. We've had the benefit of stuff. We've borrowed that money against future productivity. We've issued T-bills which were bought by people and governments all over the world. And I bet a bunch of people would like to not pay that money back. So let's come up with a theory where we can create money without assets. That's the essential difference. Let's transition to a pure fiat system and print off that debt. You need to be careful with your money supply. Money supplies are very important, fundamental really to the sovereignty of nations. The two things you need are control of your money supply and your army. Those are the two fundamental criteria for sovereignty, in my opinion. Currencies can break quite easily if you abuse them. If you go to somewhere like Cuba, no one will accept the local currency. It exists, but it won't be accepted as tender. The only thing that's accepted is dollars. I was in Eastern Europe probably 10 years ago, and their currencies were looking shaky, quite a lot of them. They worked, kind of, people accepted them, but they'd also on the side adopted the Deutschmark as an alternative currency. These are the things that happen if you relax fiscal regulation. What these guys are proposing is really quite radical, and people need to think very carefully. It's a large transition away from what we use at the moment. It's not a model describing how the financial system works at the moment. This is a radical transition to something else, disguised as a model. Okay, I hope that was clear, or some of it at least. Have a good day.